Hey friends, so I just wanted to pop on in the middle of this video. This video is kind of all over the place. If you notice, it's one of those snippet journaling video, I don't know what I'm calling them, but I'm just working through a bunch of different journals. Haven't been journaling a lot, like just creatively like I normally do, so that's why there hasn't been a lot of content here, and just going through some real life stuff and all the things. But I wanted to pop on because I did like pull out a bunch of things that you saw me just kind of working on, and I kind of wanted to give, I guess, like an update of the journals that I'm using, because I did do that initial video about the journals that I'm using, and I've realized that I've kind of only been using 2 of them besides like my little planner. That one I've used like every day, but that's just like pretty much for planning and checking things off and stuff like that. But in terms of journals, I've been using pretty much just like 1 of them, I want to say. But I have some journals here. Let's just quickly talk about what I did here. But this is my daybook of dreams, and in this video you saw me putting in, putting in this article. This was a lovely, lovely little article. I love the whole thing, that I just wanted it in my journal. I even copied it over into another journal, or like parts of it. But this is an article from well, I'm not even sure if it's the latest Victoria magazine. It is the March-April of 2024 issue of Victoria magazine. I get them, I'm subscribed, so I think I get them a little bit before they go out on stands, or maybe this one's already out, I don't know. But this one was about bringing spring in and bringing the garden into your home and all of that. And so I love that I had to put it in here because that is what this journal is about. But I don't reach for this often. It's just if there's something like that and it's like I want to save the whole thing, it's just easier to glue it all into this big journal. This is mostly what I wanted to talk about, this one and this one. So this is my paper test. I just moved it into this Foxy Fix cover. This is where my Soulscape journal was, but I have since finished that. So this was the journal that I had in here. This is like this is a B6 Muji notebook, and this is where I kind of did all my Soulscape stuff. I do believe I have like a video talking about this, or even what journals I'm using or what journals that I have using. Those videos have a lot of content about this particular journal, but it's pretty much where I do my full new moon journaling and take notes on astrology and do my journaling classes, and there's some vision boards in there. But that's what this journal is about, and I was going to start another one of this. So this one went through from August of last year up until, I have the dates here, August to the ending of January. And so I just put August 2023 to January 2024. And that's what this holds. I was going to do another one, start in February and see that through. But I have this Paper Test Designs B6 planner, and I believe I did go over this one. Let me see if I can, this is April, but let me get it. It's pretty much laid out like this. You get the monthly, and then you get a blank spread, and then you get a week, and then you get 7 pages blank for your dailies, and then another week, and then it continues on, and then back to a monthly. So it's like the months are all condensed together, and I love that. What I don't need with this particular planner is the week section. I really don't need that. I don't need it at all. What I would prefer is just having this monthly and then a bunch of blank pages, like maybe 30, 31 blank pages, and then the other monthly. Because in this one, this is just a blank notebook, but I tend to draw out my months and then just use it for journaling. Anyway, I was not going to use this planner like this journal. My initial idea was to use it sort of like a memory keep, commonplace book sort of thing. And I did do like a little key and all the things, but I realized that I do sort of like brief, like 1-2 lines a day in my planner, which is this pocket Filofax. I have Muji inserts that I cut down that are, you know, they're like weekly, and so I just kind of jot down what went on that day in here. just to keep a record, because I found that this was very useful for doing like journaling, like actual daily journals, or if I wanted to do more of like a scrappy memory keeping book of some sort, I can go back and reference like, oh, what I did that day, and then have that as a jumping off point. And so I don't know, I know, in like when I used to like really hardcore memory keep and scrapbook, I was fine repeating things in different places, but I don't know, I've gotten into like I guess the place where I haven't been like doing the whole crafty memory keep sort of thing. I've just been journaling, and it just seems really redundant to have multiple journals saying the same thing in a way. And so I kind of ixnayed the whole keeping this as like a memory keep in that way, because I wanted a daily journal in here. And so what I've decided to do is I've decided to set it up pretty much the same way that I've been setting up these guys, and basically merging in my soulscape with sort of general commonplacing. And so I'm just going to go through this one a little bit. I have an index in the front, and then it's usually monthly. I usually have some sort of pretty vellum, and then I have a forecast, and this is an astrological forecast for the month, and then I would draw in my months, and I would put things in here like webinars that I was doing, journaling workshops, things like that, things that fill my sort of like spiritual soul, I guess, is what goes on the calendar. And then I just journal based on the full and the new moons, or I'll just have random journaling where I speak to the universe. I call them my prayers. So I write Dear Universe, even though I do believe in God. They're kind of the same thing for me. And then anytime I do a journaling class, meaning a journaling workshop that I like to do, I do my journaling in here as well. And so that's how this one goes, and every month is the same. And so I've decided to set this one up the same way. And what I really like about this is that the calendars are all done for me. So I've been putting in the Sterling ink freebie I print it out on vellum. I print out the B6 one on vellum, and I just tip it in here for like my little divider. And then I use the previous blank page for the previous month as my forecast. And then I go and use the calendar portion for how I normally do the calendar. And then from there, I go straight into whatever I want to document for January. This, I started writing, before I even knew what I wanted to use this for, I started just putting in quotes that I've been collecting. And so I decided to use, a lot of the youngsters now are, when they keep a commonplace, they keep like a dot system. I actually don't know where this originated from, but I've seen a lot of journaling accounts on YouTube. When they do commonplacing, they do something like this. And so I kind of took that idea, and so that sticker, that color, and then I've kind of paired it up with a mild liner or a Tombow marker of some sort. And like this represents quotes and passages. And so anytime I write out quotes or a passage from, say, a magazine article, it'll be documented like that. I do want to go in and number all these pages. So the Paper Test Design Planner isn't numbered. It's only numbered on the pages on the back, which is unfortunate. I would love the whole thing numbered. So I am going to go in and number all of these pages, because I have my key here, and then I have sort of like this yearly overview, which I have decided that I'm going to print out. I have to measure this. This looks like about 2 by 2 square, and print out like a photo for the month. I want to attempt to do a selfie each month, but I know for January, I've already decided to put my orchid because she bloomed again. And so I want to print that out and put it there. And that's how I'm going to use this. I have no idea what I'm going to use these quarterly pages for. So what I'm thinking of doing is just covering these 4 pages up with some Stalogy paper from an old Stalogy notebook, and using this as my index, and then numbering all the pages after. So I have this blank here, but like numbering all, and then I'm covering up this as well because I don't need that calendar. But I guess starting with 1, I guess I can start 1 here and then just number it that way, and then use the pages here for my index. That's the plan. I just got to cover it. This, I kind of wanted to put like my intentions for the year, my one little word, and then I wanted to when I do my vision board, I wanted to just take a picture of it and then print the picture out and then just put it across these 2 pages to cover up this, but I have not done any of that. I'm kind of behind on my unraveling journal. I haven't really finished Susanna Conway's Unravel Your Year workbook. I don't really have much of an idea of what my word's going to be. I know I said that I wanted to keep my word from last year, which was heart, and I think some components of that I do want to keep. It's just I've been really in my head with things that are happening in my personal life, and I just haven't, I don't know, I just haven't had the time to, not sort of had the time, but just in my head, I'm just I don't know what my intentions are for this year. There's so much unknowns right now that I'm just I know it's definitely happening, but in terms of where I see my life going, I kind of don't know. So I'm just in this very weird place. It's been anxiety inducing, and so I just haven't gotten there yet. But you did see that I did pull out some magazine clippings and stuff, because usually when I do my vision boards, they're very pretty and they're very aesthetic, and it's because I kind of want my life to look like that, and so I keep doing it in that way because this is how I want my life to look like, and I'm still going towards that, what attracts me, what I want my life to look like. But I actually did one here for a journaling workshop that I went to, and I just want my life to feel like this. And so this is what I ended up doing, of course, with the materials that was there at the workshop. Just a lot of words. I want to feel like this woman here. She feels very sweet and at peace, with herself and her surroundings and everything like that. And so this is kind of the vibe. I have a vibe of what I want my year to feel like. And I think that's all I have. I don't have any sort of other intentions that are tangible and that can be tracked, tangibly, goals. I don't have any. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling of how I want my year to feel and how I want my life to look, but I don't have anything substantial. And so I've been kind of struggling with, okay, so I guess that's what my vision board's going to be. I have to do a lot more journaling around that and just thinking and all the stuff. But eventually, that's what's going to be on these 2 pages, will be my vision board. So I've set this up for January. It has my forecast. It has the thing, and then quotes. And then I did go in and do some journaling. So this has January. I decided at this point, when I wasn't using it for daily journaling, just straight up Dear Diary sort of journaling, that I wanted to use this as a substitute to these little Muji notebooks. That way I can possibly have a full year in one notebook. So as of right now, this is the second one from 2023. So I had a different planner. Let me pull that out, actually. I started out in this planner that I got from Home Goods, and I whited out all the things and just journaled in here. But this is the first part of 2023, and this is the second part. And so there's 2 journals. And I think if I were to keep these little Muji ones, if I started them in January and did them through December, really I'm thinking that one half a year will fit in one, and then I'll have another one for another half a year. So it'll always be two journals. And I figured this already has enough pages and stuff for a whole year, because it is a year, a full year. So I decided, you know what, let's attempt this year to do the Soulscape journal in this paper test planner. And so this is my new Soulscape journal. What I did was, there was a lot going on, always a lot going on in January, that I did my full moon and my new moon journaling in here. Deborah Silverman always has her immersion, and so I did that in here, as well as a couple of classes that I had from her. I did all my note taking in here. I did my journaling workshops in here. So I did all those things. And then I normally do Gabby Bernstein's Manifestation Challenge, also in January. This one I'm still in the middle of, because I haven't been doing it consecutively, day 1, day 2, etc., etc. But I did start, and that's pretty much what's been in here. I know there's a section here, this is private journaling, and so And then going back to the manifestation challenge, there's some pages that I still need to, do. More private journaling. I'm not going to show these because I've been, really digging into some feelings, but pretty much how this is working. I've decided to give everything a sticker and a color and a matching either Tombow or mild liner, and this is what it ends up being. So anything that's going to be this purple color will be moon journaling, which is my full new moon journaling that I do, and then anything that this smoke blue color is personal journaling. I don't really have anything for this, but I feel like if something else comes up that doesn't fit in any of these other categories, I will write that there. But quotes and passages here. Self-improvement, I like to watch different webinars and podcasts and stuff that are like psychology based, not so much astrology or anything like that, but like are psychology based. Like I love attachment theory. I love any personality assessment, the Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, all that stuff. I did work on a podcast before. It's called the Being Well podcast. So basically anytime I listen to an episode there and I want to capture something will fall into that self-improvement section. Astrology notes, again, are all Deborah Silverman's stuff that I've been learning from her. And then I put manifestation, law of attraction, because sometimes I do webinars that are based around law of attraction. And I started doing, because I was going to section off the manifestation challenge as its own thing, so I started using this sticker by default, and I decided later on to just group it all together into a thing. So, because I think this was supposed to be like law of attraction, and I decided to change it. So this is my key, and then this is how I would do it. So the mild liner comes in handy to kind of mark off, especially if it goes multiple pages like that. So that's kind of how I've been doing it. What I've been doing, this is a passage, this is that same passage from the Victoria magazine. I just copied it down in here because I love this. So I just copied down sections that I really, really loved. This is February. I have to do the forecast for February. Another sterling ink printable. I didn't actually let it dry. So it kind of transferred over here, but that's fine. And then I would continue doing the same thing. So what I've been doing about these weeks is I have, again, an old Stalogy notebook that I ripped pages out. The grid does not line up. The grid on the Stalogy paper is a lot bigger than this tiny. It's tiny. It's a tiny little grid. But I have the pages back here. So I went ahead and for like the next 2 months, I believe, covered the weeks up with a strip of paper. So it's kind of uneven, but it's fine. I think moving forward, I'm not going to do that only because it'll create a lot of bulk. And instead, I am just going to go ahead and kind of white this out. What I don't like is that this kind of section here isn't grid. That's the only issue, but I'm pretty sure since the paper is so thin, I can see the grid from the back side, that I can just follow it, when I'm journaling. So I'm going to just white all this stuff out and then just ignore the lines and just journal that way, because I feel like that would be better than covering this up. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that initially, but I literally just thought of that like a day ago. And so moving forward, I'm going to do that instead of covering it up, because it will create some bulk. Like there's some pages where I did do like a collage and a quote card, and maybe some weeks that I'll do that as well. I have no problem doing that, but I don't want to do it all the time because this is a huge book, and the more stuff I stick into it, the more it's going to get kind of chunky. Like I have this little cluster here. I would love to do this little kind of cluster thing and maybe do memory keeping in that respect, like that. Sort of got inspired by Allie Brown. She does it in her common planner, those little cluster, like little scrapbooking clusters, but yeah. That's pretty much how I've been keeping this, but I find that I journal in these notebooks, my Soulscape journal, a lot more often than in any other journal. This is like if I have any hard feelings that I need out, I tend to just open a page here, put my little sticker, date it, and then just journal away. And that is how I've been pretty much journaling. It's just, I don't know, something in me, I really want to get back into the crafty, creative bit of it, but this, for the last, I want to say year, really, all of 2023, I pretty much primarily used, these two journals. I did do these little ones, a couple of them, but for the most part, I was always just drawn to my Soulscape journals just to write instead of doing the art bits. Once in a while, I would do some of the art bits, but I'm definitely in a season of my life where I just want to do that, and I think that's completely fine. But I am gonna do, you know, sometimes I will do like little clusters like that, but for the most part, I decorate my monthlies with like the stickers and stuff, and I'm still gonna do that. Like January's has very little of it, but February's has a little bit more, and I think I'm going to continue just doing that with all the stuff. So I have all the stuff here, and I want to keep to like flat stickers. I really love these sort of washi stickers because they're so thin. And then I have a bunch of rub-ons. Rub-ons are amazing because they don't create that much bulk. And so that's my plan for this, but I just kind of want to share this because this is kind of like an update, and this is what I'm using. Like just this one journal, this chunky journal. I would love to find another Foxy Fix perfect B6 perfect fit cover in a spice leather, but in a color that I want. I've actually found on Facebook a couple of them, but the colors are just not what I want. Either that, or honestly, I'm probably just gonna buy myself some leather and make me a couple more covers like this. I do have the other one, the green one, the teal green one that I didn't make myself. I just want a different color. I just wanted, but I love this one, so I just moved this one into here, and it fits, but it's like kind of chunky, but it's fine. I do prefer the feel of these better in the covers. So honestly, what I'm thinking is just using this one for this year and then going back to the Muji notebooks for next year and trying to figure out how to do the monthlies because I hate drawing the stuff. Like that's the only thing. I wish maybe I'll just like get a printable and then print it out and just stick it in to here. I think that's probably how I'm going to approach it, but I prefer the feel of having two. Like, oh my god, it would be amazing if she made like an Avec version of this planner, so like the B6 but like split into 2 years. I mean, not 2 years, two books, so like January through June and then July through December. That would be amazing because I love the layout of this. Besides the week portion, I don't use that, but everything else, I love the months and then the blank pages. I just love that, having them all together like that. But that's this one. And then I wanted to share this one. This is brand new, and so I think in one of my videos, it probably was either the journals that I used last year or the journals that I was thinking of using this year. I talked a lot about my Daphne's Diary planner that I had for last year that I have not worked in, that I need to work in because I hate seeing that thing unfinished. And in that video, whichever video that was, I did receive a comment from a lovely viewer saying that she ended up buying the Katie Daisy planner instead of the Daphne's Diary because obviously it's easier to find here in the States. It's a lot cheaper, and it's gorgeous, and it's just as pretty as the Daphne's Diary. And I was like, oh, I know Katie Daisy. She does all those floral things. And so of course I went on Instagram and I went to Katie Daisy's Instagram page, and then I looked up the planner, and I was trying to find like flip throughs of it, and I just got so enamored by the illustrations that I went on Amazon and got this for like $11, and it is a B6. So I already filled out the beginning. So it is a B6 like spiral bound planner. The pages are 5x7 and it's gorgeous. So I haven't filled out February on. So usually it opens up, you know, into beautiful artwork and then a monthly. This is a bad idea because, bad example, I mean, because I already covered it up. So like here, right? And then March, it's a planner. And then it goes, you know, it's a horizontal weekly. And then more art. And then usually there's an art bit or like a section to write before the monthly. And then each month has its own illustrative theme, and it just goes like that. And it continues on for the rest of the years. This is what I'm saying. Like, so since the 30th is the last day in April and it ends on a Tuesday, the Wednesday section just has art. And then there's usually some art page here, or this one is a grateful journaling spot, and then some more art, another grateful journaling spot, and then the monthly for the next month. And then May starts on Wednesday, and so usually there's some artwork, and then it'll start on the day of, so there's like no overlap, if that makes sense. I actually really like it. I know some people like to see their full weeks, but I'm not using this as a planner, so I guess that's why it works for me. But then it just continues on like that. And instead of having like a notes section, it just has like the month. And so here, 31st ends on a Friday, so there's no weekend because the weekend ends up being in June. And then it continues on like that. And each month is a beautiful theme, and there's illustrations throughout the planner, and I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. It is so pretty. I'm not gonna do a flip through of it, but it is so pretty. And yeah, so I bought it because I just wanted to check it out. I had no idea what I was going to use it for. I just wanted to see it in person. And so I'm like, $11 is not much. I'm just going to buy it just to check it out. And I will make sure to leave a link to this. I found it on Amazon in the description box. But that's the planner. Pocket in the back. There's a pocket in the front that I have some things in. And so I am using this planner as my joy journal. Basically, it's a gratitude journal. I like the name Joy Journal. I know Allie Brown uses that name, Joy Journal. I know she has like a joy, she uses joy notes. It's like similar. I want to say Stephanie from the Journal Diaries also uses that name, the Joy Journal. I know a bunch of people in the journaling community use the name Joy Journal and keep a journal like that. It's like either a gratitude journal or just things that bring them joy and they want to document it. And so that's kind of what this is. I do want to focus more on gratitude in here, but if there's things that make me happy, I just put them in here as well. So like I started it off, this was just a blank like journaling page, and I started it off again with my orchid because she bloomed again, and I wrote a little thing, and I love Felicity Jane. I love this quote from Victoria Magazine, so like anything that I love just went in here. I kept like the date stuff because I really love this. I did glue, I forgot what these two pages were, but I did glue them together. I didn't need them. I don't remember what they were. So this is glued together, and this was a journaling spot. So I, again, wrote like how I'm going to keep this journal, added some stickers and some magazine cutouts and stuff like that. And then I've left all the artwork intact because it's beautiful. I recently did this, so this is the monthly. I was going in and writing like a little thing each day, but I was so inconsistent at it and I just didn't like it. And so I've decided to basically cover the monthly with some grid paper and decorate it and stuff. And I will just do more journaling, more joy journaling. So journaling about what I'm grateful for or anything that I love. And I would give you an example. And so I started this on the 12th of January. So I didn't backtrack anything because that was silly. So for the pages that I didn't like write a daily gratitude, I decided to put in things that I love. And pretty much this whole double page spread here is an ode to journaling and the journaling community and Get Messy and junk journaling and creative journaling and pretty much like all the people in the community that I've been able to interact with and meet that love this hobby of sitting down, pen to paper, and journaling in any creative way that we all love to do it, because journaling has legit saved my life in multiple ways. It has gotten me through so many hard things in my life, and it continues to get me through so many hard things in my life, and it helps with my anxiety. And yeah, I owe a lot to just journaling and being able to journal in the way that I have been able to, and to share with the community and all the things. And so I kind of use the empty pages to do that. I printed out my 2 favorite photos that I've pretty much ever taken of my journals and posted on social media. This is like a bunch of art journals that I have that I just took this beautiful photograph. I love like this kind of pastel lavender purple color, and so these are my image transfers or art journaling. I just love these photos, and so of course I printed them out because they're my favorite and just collaged them here, and then just did the journaling. Here, I had this section blank, of course, since I started on the 12th. And so I printed out this photograph. It's a recent photograph of a bouquet that a new friend, I go to Emily's journaling classes all the time, that she made for me at one of her workshops, and I printed out the photo because I loved it so much, and I loved what it represented. It represented this new community of people that I meet with in real life who like journaling and who do it together. And Emily has been so wonderful and so welcoming, and her workshops are amazing. And so that's something that's been bringing me joy and comfort. And so I just kind of made a collage, wrote a little note, and that's what that represents. Anytime that I have a quote that I want to keep, even though I'm putting them in here as well, if there's something that sparks something in me and I don't have any journaling for like the day, I'll just write a quote here. This was one from a recent Being Well podcast. I think it was about relationships. I don't actually remember what the podcast was about, but Rick Hansen, it's a father-son duo. He is the father. He is a clinical psychologist, and he said, opening out into the world brings us into homecoming with ourselves. And like a big theme that I'm noticing in like all of my journaling, especially going through Susanna Conway's Unravel Your Year workbook, is the word courage. And I think the first time I heard the word courage was Lydia at February and June. That is her word for the year. And I thought, like, I understand why she chose it, and I resonated so much with why she chose that word. And I know for me, one of the big things that I wanted to do this year was continue my jar of artist days. So I don't know if I've mentioned, I think I did mention it here. I have a whole lesson in my unfurling course, which is a brand new course that I released at the start of the year, about artist dates and specifically my jar of artist dates. But it's basically a mason jar that I'm keeping that I have a bunch of folded piece of papers in that have artist date ideas in them. And the artist date ideas are things that I just do all the time that I love to do. Get a new art supply at the art supply store, go to Strand bookstore and just roam through the books and maybe get a few books, just things like that. Those are little artist dates because they inspire me in some way, right? And so I have those in there. Taking a walk through Central Park, journaling in the park, like just things like that. I love to do that all the time. It fills me up, it brings me calm, it grounds me in the present, and I just love doing it, right? So that's like part of those dates. I call them thirds. So that's 1/3 of the dates that I have in that jar. The second third are things that I've always wanted to do, but just never had time to do them. So like there's a bunch of museums that I've always wanted to go to that I never had time to do. Just little sightseeing things in New York that I've lived here all my life, and I'm just like, why haven't I ever walked across the Brooklyn Bridge? Those are little artist dates that I throw in there. And then the last third of the dates are things that I've always wanted to do, but for some reason I am so scared of doing them. I have social anxiety, like I'm pretty sure a bunch of us introverts who are here watching my channel do. And just the idea of doing those things just seem really out of character for me. But I always wanted to experience whatever those things are. And so those dates are also thrown in there. And basically each week I am supposed to pull out a date at random, and that is what I end up doing. I also put in a lot of things that I found on like Eventbrite or just like workshops and like community events that are interesting to me that I want to do. And so I just plop them in there. Maybe some art classes, just plop, anything that interests me and things that I want to do. I just throw them in there for little dates. And these are solo dates. That's the catch. If you've ever read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, these are things that you do by yourself. These, you go out on these dates by yourself and have that time with you and pretty much have that time with your inner child. And so I've been thinking about my jar because I did it last year, and it's probably my favorite thing that I ever did last year was that jar, and I didn't do it consistently. I pulled a thing out whenever I felt like I needed some social interaction. This year, I kind of want to go big with it. I told myself at the ending of last year, I want to go big with it. Giving myself some rest, because I know in the winter time, I like to hibernate, and so I'm not pushing myself to do events. If Emily has a journaling class that I want to attend, I'll sign up for that separate from my jar, but I'm not really pushing myself to go out there. But I know the minute the weather gets nicer, the spring comes around, I'm gonna have that urge to go out. I always have it every single year, but I don't know what to do. And so in that case, I will take from my jar and start doing those dates. But a big thing with doing those artist dates was facing fears, like facing the fear of the unknown, which I think is what I'm scared of the most. If anybody asks me that question of what are you scared of the most, I am unscared of the unknown. I'm scared of uncertainty. If I don't know how things will play out realistically, I am petrified, and I tend to, I don't want to say ruminate on those thoughts, and I get so anxious. And so like anything that has to do with health and like outcome of health, I get so anxious about not knowing in what direction my body's going to take me. And I have a hard time just trusting that everything will go well. And that's something that I really want to work on, like just having trust and not focusing on pretty much the negative outcomes. Because one, if you don't know how things are going to turn out, it can turn out two ways. It can be great or it can not be great. And for some reason, I innately focus on the not great bit. And I kind of disregard of what can go well. And I believe there's a quote that talks about that. But I realized that I need to ground myself in the present instead of looking and thinking about what could possibly happen in the future. Because this is where I'm here right now. What can I do right now realistically to kind of put me on the path of the good in the future and not the bad? And it's honestly a mindset shift, but that is my biggest fear. My biggest fear is the unknown, is not knowing. And going back to courage, it takes a lot of courage to face your fears. Like you need courage to face your fears. And so I have a lot of anxiety about not knowing how things are going to go. And so a lot of those artist dates, I don't know, especially the ones that are more social and are getting me out of my shell because it's something that I want to do, but I've let that fear of not knowing hold me back. That takes a lot of courage. And so that word kept coming up again for me in that way. Every time I would journal, it's like courage. Oh yeah, like Lydia's word, courage. And I think her thing is completely the same. I mean, I can't speak for her, but I believe in one of her videos, she expressed that she wants, or maybe it was a comment on one of my posts, but that she made to me, but she expressed that, basically that. And I'm like, I so can relate to that. And I've been thinking about that a lot. But going back to Rick's quote, opening out into the world brings us into homecoming within ourselves. That's all about just putting yourself out there, right? Like, opening yourself out, opening yourself to the world. What I've learned just by kind of cracking my shell a little bit last year and opening myself, I didn't completely unfurl, but I did open myself up a little bit to possibility. I felt so much growth there, you know? I love that homecoming with ourselves. Like, oh, just that quote. I know I went on a little tangent, a little rant about that quote, but that's kind of where my mind has been right now, right? And so I don't want courage to be my word for the year, but I definitely think it's a supporting word 100%, because I think another word that I really want to cultivate is joy and gratitude, which is going back to the purpose of this journal, to cultivate more of that. And I am awful at doing, like, creating a practice for myself or a habit of gratitude and like just being aware of all the good things, because again, my mind kind of defaults to just all the bad things that could happen. It's not actually here yet, you know, none of it is true. I have a lot of good things currently, and like I really want to get into the habit of grounding myself in the present and what I have and what's going well instead of what's not going well. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I've decided to keep this as gratitude. I actually was really good at it up until like the ending of the month. And then of course this week, as I'm filming this, I haven't actually written anything. in here. When I have little spaces, again, I'll just write a quote. I love this one by Diane Ackerman. The first time I heard this quote was in One Little Word in 2022, and I'm gonna read it because this, I would love to embody this, but I don't, I'm just gonna read the quote. It says, "I don't want to get to the end of my life and find that I have lived just the length of it. I want to have lived the width of it as well," like the width of it. Basically what she's saying is, you know, we can live to like 86, 90 years old, right? We've lived the length of our lives. But what did we do with that time that we had? You know, I don't want to say that a lot of people think this way because that's an assumption to like society as a whole, but I know, like, especially nowadays when life is a lot harder, people just, they just kind of go with the flow of their lives, right? You go to work, come home, you have to deal with whatever you have home, your own struggles, and then the cycle repeats itself. And, you know, a lot of people maybe don't do work that fulfills them, that gives them purpose and meaning. And I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of us are like extremely depressed right now, and we have like a loneliness epidemic happening and all these things, right? Also, the world is like a shit show right now. So we have all of those external things, plus we have our own internal struggles going on that we forget, I think, to find the meaning and the purpose of our lives. And that's the width of it. So like, some people have lived very short lives, but they've done so much that they've lived the extent of their width. It's, you know, it's a catch-22 because life's a catch-22, but I love this. I love, like, you know, I don't know how long I'm gonna live for, right? That's an unknown. Hopefully it's long enough, or at least average, but I want to make all that time count. I want to live the width of my life. Love that. I love that. I just love it. So that's what's going in here. It's regular gratitude plus things that I just love. This was something that I saw on Instagram and I loved this poem. And so I just printed it out, made a collage and put it in here since I want to ground myself and be present. Oh my God, I was listening to a fantastic podcast episode on Diary of a CEO. It's literally my favorite podcast, Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO. I will link it in the description along with Being Well. But I love Stephen's podcast. It is my favorite. And one of the episodes, oh my God, I don't know what they were talking about. He had a therapist on and they were talking about awe. Like, one of my favorite questions to ask a person is, when was the last time you were in awe? You know, like awe, like you witnessed something so deeply profound and magical and it just, you were, you know, awestruck. You were just like, oh my God. They were talking about that because that's what's lacking. That's the reason why we have people who are really depressed or really anxious, are lonely, are, you know, just all these things that people are feeling collectively right now, is because there's a lack of awe. We're all experiencing a lack of awe. And what that means is that we're all not in the present moment. We're not being present. So in, I believe, Zen Buddhism, you know, everything's about the present, is about the now. That's where you'll find joy and that's where you'll find contentment, is being grounded and rooted in the present moment. And that is where you experience awe, is in the present. And that just kind of brought me back to Mary Oliver's rules for living life. Liz likes to repeat this all the time, which is, what is it? I'm trying to remember it now, which is, it's pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it. She's basically saying to be in the present, to be in that present moment, to pay attention, to be astonished, there goes the awe moment, and then to tell about it, meaning to write it, to create something, to tell somebody else. That, I want to print that out. I want to print that out and put it here in one of the sections that I have blank, because I want that to be my focus for this year. I want that to be my life. I want to be grounded and rooted in the present because, like I said before earlier, I am always ruminating on the future, the unknown of the future, and it brings me so much anxiety and so much fear. And and that causes stress and all these things. And, I'm trying to take better health care of my body. Like I mentioned, I think, I don't know what video, previous video, that I had to wear a heart monitor, and my heart is fine, but, my iron levels are really, really low. And like, I just have a lot of things that are happening with my body right now. And I want to take care of it more, but I think a lot of it, honestly, is rooted in my anxiety and the stress levels, and I really need to get that down in order to fix whatever's happening in here. And I find when I'm ruminating about the unknown of the future, I get so anxious. I get so anxious, and that causes me stress, and I can't do that to myself all the time. And so I need to practice being in awe. I need to practice, paying attention, being astonished, and telling about it. I need to be rooted in the present moment. It's okay to feel all the things that I feel, the fear, the anxiety, all the things that are negative, sadness and pain and grief and all the things that we all feel on a daily basis. But I really want to be mindful, like really want to be mindful to pay attention to the present moment, to see things that are amazing, to see the love and the joy that's actually around us in this kind of dark time we're all living in, and to focus on that and not what could go wrong, because there's the opposite too, right? What could go right? And so that is what this is. At least that's what I'm really struggling at it, because it's not my natural way of working things, but this is what this book is going to be about for me. And I love that it's so, you belong here. It's so beautiful, and the illustrations and just the sentiments. So I did the same thing here. I covered this up. Probably going to do some journaling here. And then, of course, I have to go into my week. I'm filming this on Sunday, so I have to like either backtrack or just cover it up like I do here, and just journal about something that I'm grateful for, or something that I saw that had me in awe and kind of rooted me into the present. And again, printing out Mary Oliver's instructions for living life. I want that front and center. I know Liz always repeats it, and it's amazing, and she's like 100% to keep sharing it all the time, because we need more awe in our lives. Just, it's basically a mental game that you have to play with yourself. You just have to be mindful. Again, it's hard. I don't think some people are more predisposed to thinking the negative than others. It's part of our personality traits. And so this for me is going to be a huge challenge. And that's something that I want to face. I want to see the joy in life. I don't want to see the bad stuff. The bad stuff is there. I acknowledge that it's there, but I don't want to ruminate on it, because I have an awful habit of doing that. So this is going to be my place. This is going to be that, where I document the awe, that I see in my life, where I document the joy, and I just really need to refocus my mind, and I have to retrain it, and I have to like really focus on that good stuff, because there's a lot of bad stuff, and I know my mind personally can go to all the bad outcomes that could possibly happen. And I just have to have faith, which my mom is very, very religious. She's super religious. She always says that what the world needs is God. And maybe she has a valid point. We had a very long discussion about this, where I said, I don't think the world needs God. I think the world needs faith. Faith in whatever it is they believe in. I think when people have faith, it changes the whole game, whatever that faith is, right? And just to make a long story short, because I can be long-winded, I said that, my faith is frail. And I admit that. It totally is, because I tend to focus on the unknown, on the negative, on the bad, and I forget to have faith and trust in either myself, in the universe, in God, in doctors, in people who are helping me to get certain things. Like, I forget to have the faith that, things will turn out all right. And so I guess that's going to be a mental exercise for myself definitely a mental challenge to kind of change that mindset, because I realized that it causes me immense anxiety, like so much anxiety, to ruminate on what could go wrong, what is going wrong, you know, what has gone wrong, instead of seeing what can go right. So that's a lesson for me. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. But yeah, so that's what this journal's about. And I just wanted to share that. I wanted to do like a little pause with the journaling and just share what this journal is about and what's going on with this. And yeah, just give you a little update. I don't know, I might end this video here. And I will see you all next time. I really hope you're all well. I really hope you're all in a good place, mentally, emotionally, physically. Just, I really, really, really do, because life is hard. Life is really hard right now, and I just wish everyone the best, truly. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me in this long video. Just thank you for giving me a space to just share what's been on my mind, what I've been creating, just what I've been doing. And I really hope, honestly, I think my one goal in life is to just help a person through something. That's always been, even if it's just giving them inspiration or something to think about, or just like, oh my God, I can totally relate to that person. It's literally kind of all I want to do. So I really hope any part of this video, because I've said a lot, I've been going through a lot mentally in the last couple of weeks, definitely the month of January, and so kind of said a lot of stuff. I just hope that someone out there needed to hear some part of that. Anyway, be well, friends. I will see you next time. Bye.